please welcome to the stage Peter Sheldon.
Thanks, Shannon. All right, good morning, everyone. Pleasure to be here in New York. This is my first Meet Magento New York. I've been to many other Meet Magentos and many other Magento events, but great to be here and a fantastic venue. So what I want to take you through over the next 35, 40 minutes is a little bit of a look into sort of where is our industry going, where is online retail, where is e-commerce going, and then to share with you some of the work that at Adobe, at Magento we're doing in terms of investing in the platform to make sure that Magento continues to stay out in front, that we're investing in the right products, the right features that you as our community need to make this whole ecosystem successful. So let's take a start and look at some of the big trends that are sort of happening. I think the key takeaway here is that the future really is bright. We are in a great growth industry. And when we think about sort of going into a new decade, moving into 2020, we're going to see continued strong, robust growth in e-commerce. And it's really a number of drivers. First of all, population growth is going to continue. When I say overall population growth, the number of consumers globally who buy through an e-commerce channel, by 2021, almost 30% of the world's population will transact and buy through e-commerce. We see more and more cross-border trade. By 2021, a fifth of all e-commerce will be cross-border, whether it's bringing Southeast Asian brands to North America through Alibaba, whether it's Chinese consumers buying North American brands, North American consumers buying European brands. There are no borders when it comes to e-commerce, and that's continuing to fuel growth. Mobile, continues to grow. I think it's growing faster than any of us really are ready for or have anticipated. And by 2021, we're predicting that 73% of all e-commerce transactions will occur on mobile. That's a huge shift from where we are today. We know that already well north of 50% of traffic is coming from mobile, but we're going to see a big shift towards more and more transactions happening from mobile. And then, more and more consumers just getting really comfortable with buying online. So again, by 2021, 17.5% of total retail spend will happen online. And that's, again, a big shift from where we've been. So, all of the right catalysts are there for continued growth. Now, there's also a lot of opportunity, I think, for retailers of all sizes. We've seen a lot of sort of larger retailers who have seen significant growth, but some of the sort of smaller SMB retailers, perhaps not necessarily grasping the full opportunity that's out there. So when we think about things like adoption of buy online, pick up in store, there's still a lot of smaller retailers that have still got to embrace those omni-channel initiatives. And when we see events like Amazon Prime Day, which see not just Amazon seeing a big uplift from these events, but obviously smaller retailers as well seeing an uplift. But I think there's a lot of headroom, there's a lot of opportunity for smaller retailers to really thrive and grow in the global e-commerce market. And there's a lot of change that's happening. When we think about shipping and delivery is sort of one of the key areas. This is now really the holy grail of e-commerce. Faster shipping, one-day shipping, and it's really the front lines of the sort of the turf war that's going on between Amazon, between Walmart and other leading retailers. And so, Amazon continued to sort of move the goalposts. We saw the announcement early in the year that they're going to migrate all of two-day shipping to one-day shipping, and they're making very, very good progress on that. But Walmart really not, sitting down and laying down the gauntlet to Amazon, saying we're going to do exactly the same thing. They've rolled one-day shipping out in Phoenix, Las Vegas, South California, and by the end of the year, they're saying that 75% of the US population will have access to one-day shipping on Walmart.com without a subscription. So, this is really putting pressure, I think, on, all other retailers, and it's setting a new benchmark that e-commerce now is more convenient than ever before. When we think about, what we can buy online, this is kind of, really, really exciting. A few years back, I think a lot of us would have sort of laughed if we'd said, hey, we're going to see entire industries like the automotive industry move to an online buying function, that people will buy clothes and apparel and footwear exclusively online. But that's exactly what's happening. And I think there's a lot of change from that sort of traditional showroom sales environment of visiting a sales and speaking and working with a sales representative. There are a lot of consumers today who hate that experience, and they much prefer an entire digital experience through the comfort of their own home. And I think Tesla is one example of a company that's proven that they can uproot an entire industry, an industry that for over a century has relied on dealerships and salespeople, and move that now to almost an exclusive 100% digitized buying experience. Indochino, just one of many sort of pure play online fashion and apparel retailers. Now you would buy a custom measured suit exclusively online without actually visiting a tailor. And as we see more and more investment in technologies like augmented reality, VR, high fidelity content, 3D configuration tools, and open return policies, we're going to see more and more consumers get comfortable with making very complex, high consideration purchases exclusively online. And this is driving a lot of growth in our industry. Another thing that's, I think, really exciting is to see just how many new sort of digital-first business models are out there, and just how many disruptive companies are disrupting entire industry models that have been around for decades, or in some cases centuries, and turning those models on their head. And I think there's some really interesting examples, whether it's Carvana, who digitized that used car purchase experience, where I don't have to go and speak to the used car salesman anymore. I can have the confidence of buying a warranty-based used car exclusively online. Casper, who defined the bed-in-a-box category, have made the concept of buying a mattress without actually lying on it, without trying it, that's now normal behavior. I think I saw a stat that 20% of all mattress sales now have moved to digital. Box, a great example. They're digitizing Costco, and from my perspective, the worst thing about Costco is actually going to Costco. The model is great. The ability of buying in bulk and that wholesale model, but digitizing that where I don't actually have to go to the warehouse and I can order online is really exciting. HelloFresh, democratized meal planning and grocery shopping into a digital experience. Wayfair has completely upturned the entire furniture industry. This is a company now that's worth $11 billion and continues to see significant growth, investing in all kinds of innovative features around augmented reality, making it more convenient to buy furniture through an online experience than visiting a furniture showroom. Stitch Fix, using machine learning and data science to predict fashions that you'll like in the future, and Rent the Runway, who enabling females to have sort of that Cinderella moment for pennies on the dollar. So across the board, we're seeing more and more disruptive startups who are inventing entirely new business models based around e-commerce. Another thing that I think is happening, and this is sort of right in what we read about day in, day out in the media, is this sort of continued demise of retail. Retail is dead. And it's not at all. It's just going through a metamorphosis. And what we're seeing is that brands like Lego are learning to become retailers. If you saw yesterday, Lego announced that they are now going to expand and rapidly expand their opening of new stores. So they've made a commitment to opening 160 new stores in the next couple of years. And this is really in response to the demise of Toys R Us in the US and Top Toys in the Nordics, two of their main distribution arms now gone bankrupt, gone out of business. So they're saying, hey, we're going to continue to be successful in the market. We're going to really expand on our direct-to-consumer, and we're going to expand our investment, not just in the US, but in Asia, of having that direct-to-consumer retail model. Casper, who started out, as I spoke about a second ago, as a sort of online pure play for buying mattresses online, well, they've realized that actually, this model of having showrooms, that are not franchised, that are not owned by another retailer, but are their own branded showrooms, this is actually really augments their digital strategy. And so Casper now, by 2021, will have over 200 retail locations that they're opening. So we're seeing brands really commit to that retail model. Now, on the converse, the retailers are trying to fight back. And, it's more difficult than ever to earn a living selling other companies' stuff. And we're seeing this. We're seeing a lot of, department stores that are, in decline, closing down, shutting down stores. There's many, many stories out there. But there's some that are really fighting back and saying, hey, we're going to transform ourselves from being a retailer to being a brand. And a couple of great examples of this is Target introduced their children's apparel brand, Cat and Jack. That's now a $2 billion business for Target. Kroger's launched their Simple Truth natural and organic, healthy living brand. That's over $2 billion in sales now, and they now resell that into other retailers like Walgreens and on Alibaba in China. And Nike Sneakers mobile app is an exclusive channel for Nike. That's where they launch a lot of their new products, a lot of their, their new styles, etc. So we're seeing this really interesting dynamic in the market. Another thing that's happening is the move to sort of augmented experiences. I talked a little bit a moment ago how Wayfair really changing the game in furniture, but augmented experiences, I think, are really poised to take off now. We've got the AR toolkits that are native to both Android and to iPhone, and we're seeing, it's not applicable in all markets, but there's a few categories that are really, really going to take advantage of this, and I think this is going to become the norm and the normal way of buying and discovering products in certain categories. And so in furniture, obviously, it's not just Wayfair, it's House, it's IKEA, it's Pottery Barn, Home Styler, Decor Matters, Overstock, Macy's. All of these, big, both pure play and traditional furniture retailers are making heavy, heavy investments in their AR tools. In the eyewear space, we see Warby Parker, Specs, Ray-Ban, all giving you those virtual try on your shades, try on your spectacles before you buy. In the jewelry space, Dangle AR, Say Yes, Shop for Rings, Tissot, are all letting you try on watches, rings, jewelry in an augmented experience. In home improvement, we see Home Depot, Sherwin-Williams, Magic Plan, Housecraft, all letting you experience things like what your kitchen will look like and do DIY planning, see what that new bathroom will look like before you actually, buy or design it. In makeup, we've seen Modiface, which, interestingly was acquired by L'Oreal, powering MAC and Sephora. And then there's other pure plays like UCAM, who, really getting into that augmented makeup space. And then in fashion and footwear, whether it's Wanakix, Crocs, Gap, Lacoste, Converse, they're all let you virtually try on your sneakers and try on your shoes with augmented experiences. And so this is all going to become the norm. And I think even beyond this, we're seeing now firms investing not just in the visualization aspect, but also the fit and confirmation of size and fit. So when we think about what augmented experiences can do, it's not just that visualization, it's confirming that that sofa will actually fit in your lounge, that these pair of sneakers, that the size 8.5 is the right size for your feet. And I think we're on the cusp of that technology really taking off and being available. And this has a huge impact for e-com because it now has a huge impact. The problem that all these industries have traditionally had is very, very high return rates because although I can visualize, I think it's the right product for me, when I actually get it, sometimes I'll order 2 or 3 in different sizes or combinations just so that I know I'm going to send 2 of them back. And this technology can have a huge impact on reducing those returns and making the original order that the customer places is the right order. So this is hugely exciting. And one of the things that I'm excited about being part of Adobe is that Adobe's at the forefront of these digital visualization experiences. So if you think about sort of Adobe's play in the market, we have the Creative Cloud, we have Photoshop, and all of those great tools that creative individuals and designers use. But there's a few tools that perhaps we as Magento are not necessarily familiar with. When we think about this, Adobe acquired a company called Algorithmic back in January. And Algorithmic are the creator of a tool called Substance. And Substance is a really, really awesome tool that allows designers to take a 3D model, basically a manufacturing CAD drawing, and then apply in the tool here, as the Substance tool, you can apply coloring and texturing to that and create a completely rendered life, and resolution isn't very good here, but you can see a completely rendered, real-life looking image but it is a virtual image. And this is really empowering retailers like IKEA and Target, who are investing hugely in these tools because it rapidly allows them to bring products to market, allows them to visualize products in completely different settings, and it allows them to have significant cost savings over traditional photography shoots. So, Adobe is really at the forefront of all of this. And then there's other tools like Adobe Dimension and Adobe Aero, which is an AR rendering toolkit, which allow our customers to build augmented experiences, to build 3D models, and support some of those high-fidelity purchase scenarios that I talked about. So that's a little bit on sort of, some of the trends that we're seeing in the space. And now I'm going to switch gears a little bit and talk about, some of the roadmap for Adobe and how we're sort of investing in commerce. So as we look out on sort of the retail, market, it's sort of 15 months now since the acquisition was completed. And the combination of Magento and Adobe, we are better positioned more than ever before to help our customers take, see new opportunities in the market. And so when we think about, sort of the use case, Adobe and Magento together are uniquely positioned to own the entire digital customer journey. I think in the past, when, in the earlier days of Magento and when we were an independent company, before we were part of Adobe, we were very focused on sort of the buy use case, which is, how do we get a customer who's already on our e-commerce site to navigate, browse, add to cart, check out, and buy. And that was sort of perhaps a slightly sort of narrow vision of what e-commerce was. And being part of Adobe, I think, has really opened our eyes to a much broader view, which is, e-commerce is an end-to-end and sort of circulating perpetual experience from, how do consumers discover products that they're potentially interested in? How do they discover those brands? Where do they find them? How do they actually try out those products before they buy? So going into virtual, augmented experiences, 3D models, those type of things. Obviously, we've got the buy piece, really well covered, but then as we see a lot of these sort of transformational business models, this sort of one-time perpetual purchase is really going away. We're seeing a lot of companies, move to either complete subscription models where you no longer buy or own something, you effectively rent or license or subscribe to it. And even a lot of physical products now, have a subscription element. So many things I go into Best Buy today and, I might pay $99.99 for, some, whatever it is, a home monitoring product, but then I'm paying a subscription as well. Or I may only pay a subscription and I get the product for free. So it's really important from a commerce perspective that we think about the entire customer journey from discovery to renewal. It's no longer good enough just to focus on that, that one-time transaction. Now, when you heard back at Adobe Summit, which was in March of 2019, that we announced Adobe Commerce Cloud. Now, Adobe Commerce Cloud is really intended to serve the needs of large multinationals that want to unify and manage the customer experience they deliver across all of their channels. And it's really bringing next generation, what we call experience-driven commerce to the enterprise. And when we think about, what is Adobe Commerce Cloud, Adobe Commerce Cloud is an extension of an existing strategy that Adobe had within Adobe's Experience Cloud. So there's now 4 what we call sub-clouds within Adobe. There's the Advertising Cloud, which are the tools that our customers use to do demand generation, how they make awareness of our clients' products and services. There's the Analytics Cloud, which includes Adobe Analytics and Adobe Audience Manager, which is our DMP tool, and that allows customers to really have insights as to, across all of the behavioral trends of how consumers, travel through the digital realm. The Marketing Cloud, which now includes Marketo, as well as Adobe Campaign, Adobe Experience Manager, and Adobe Target. These are, existing experience tools that Adobe has, and now we have the Commerce Cloud. Now, Commerce Cloud is built on Magento Commerce. And it really harnesses the power of the Magento platform, architected for rapid change and growth. And so for large enterprise customers, Magento Commerce is typically deployed in a headless architecture. We leverage the GraphQL APIs of Magento, and our new microservices commerce integration framework allow a seamless integration between a headless Magento being exposed through the Adobe Experience Manager CMS platform and leveraging Adobe Target and Adobe Analytics. But this model is very much for large enterprises. And what I want to talk about now is how Adobe is continuing to invest in and is more committed than ever in our mid-market strategy. And to do that, I really want to sort of talk about, how in parallel, as though we are absolutely investing in the enterprise space, and we're seeing significant growth. Adobe has a lot of large enterprise clients that are bringing great new opportunities to us as Magento. We have a tremendously strong and robust pipeline of large enterprise retailers who are now, not just seriously considering Magento, but actually putting Magento as their first choice in terms of, the platforms that they're evaluating. But as everyone in this room knows, Magento's bread and butter is the mid-market. It's small and medium businesses, and we are doubling down on that investment. We are growing our R&D, we're growing our investment in sales in this segment. And so what I want to talk about is how we're bringing the power of Adobe's portfolio to Magento's core SMB and mid-market merchants. And so you're probably all familiar with our sort of roadmap framework that we use. We sort of think about our roadmap in three sectors. There's superior shopping experiences, omnichannel innovation, and commerce intelligence. And so I'm going to go through each of these and sort of talk about some of the things that we're working on. Now, the first of these are superior shopping experiences. And so, the first thing that we launched earlier this year is Page Builder. For anyone who's not had a chance to see or use Page Builder, I strongly recommend. This is, certainly game-changing functionality from where we were before Page Builder. It empowers the marketing and merchandising users in Magento to manage the creative on all of their landing pages, within Magento, and be able to design, edit, modify, change landing pages completely independently without needing to do any software releases, without needing UX, CSS designers working with them. So it really empowers the business user to do that sort of day-to-day marketing, merchandising, and creation of landing pages. And I think we're really proud of how the community has come together to sort of help contribute to this. We've got over 100 solution partners that have launched sites using this, and customers who were part of our early adopter program. But this is now core GA functionality in Magento, and we're seeing that this is a big differentiator in the market versus certainly all of our competitors, both at the enterprise as well as in the mid-market and SMB segments. When we think about another area where Magento continues to thrive is in B2B. When we look at our sales funnel, 60% of our leads, as well as 60% of the deals that we close, are with customers who have requirements to do B2B. Some of them are industrial manufacturers, distributors who have very specific, defined B2B use cases. But a lot of our customers are what we call hybrid. They are customers that have a mix of business. They're doing both B2C and B2B. They may be retailers that have a small wholesale distribution channel, or they may be a B2B manufacturer that's trying to launch a product line direct to consumer. And so we see a lot of success with our ability to support both of those with B2B. And we made a big investment in Magento 2.2 to develop native B2B functionality inside of the platform. And we're continuing to invest in this. When we think about the roadmap for 2020, we're going to be adding buyer workflow and approvals, more focus on the scalability and performance for very large, complex B2B product catalogs. And we're going to be working as well on a PWA dedicated reference storefront that really will showcase the power and opportunity of a really great mobile experience in B2B. So super excited about the roadmap for B2B. Progressive web apps. We've talked about this a lot. As I said earlier, we're going to see this massive shift where almost 3/4 of all e-com transactions in the next couple of years will now occur on mobile. And so it's absolutely critical that mobile is very fast, very efficient, and it's in many ways actually a superior shopping experience to the desktop. I think we're not too far off that kind of mindset that actually it's easier to buy something on our mobile phone than it is a desktop. I certainly feel that's the case on Amazon.com. If I use the Amazon mobile app, I find it's much easier and more a more seamless experience to buy through the Amazon mobile app than it is on the Amazon desktop site. And I think that's the way that the whole industry is going. So PWAs really become the new standard for mobile web. And it's not just us saying this, the whole industry's woken up to this. All of the industry analysts, I think, the merchant community as a whole is really very much aware now. There's a great Forrester report that came out which talks about sort of the top trends and what's real and what's not real. And PWA in 2019 was promoted to being one of the sort of key technology changes and key technology trends that retailers are actively investing in now. So this isn't sort of a fad anymore. This is a reality. And certainly as retailers go through their budgetary planning process for 2020, I guarantee you that very, very many retailers are putting budget aside to do PWA projects in 2020. And it's not, again, this is a great example of how, the community is coming together to help us deliver this. This is very much a community project. We've had the event last night. We've got some great partners who are doing a huge amount to contribute to rounding out the PWA capabilities, making PWA Studio as strong as it can be, helping with the contributions to building out the Venia PWA reference store. So we're super excited, and we're getting closer and closer to the finish line here. I think PWA today is in a very, very mature state, and we're seeing more and more Magento merchants who are upgrading to the latest versions of Magento to start PWA projects, and new deals that we're closing. More and more of them are starting their new projects with a clear mindset that they're going to do PWA from the outset. Another thing, that's super exciting, another great example of a project being developed by the community. This is an active community project that's going on right now, integrating Adobe Stock, which is Adobe's stock photography libraries, directly into the Magento admin. So this is kind of super cool. If you're a marketer, merchandiser, you can go straight to the Magento Media Gallery, search for, discover, and find, stock photography. So this is a great project. If you're part of the community, you haven't had a look at this, I encourage you to go have a look. It's on GitHub, and get involved. This is just one of many great examples of how the community is helping us, accelerate and deliver on our roadmap. Okay, so the next pillar around our roadmap is omni-channel innovation. So we continue, as I talked about earlier, seeing brands become retailers and retailers try to become brands. Omni-channel is sort of intertwined into everything we do, and we continue to invest in omni-channel functionality in Magento. So I think for many of you, when you think about Magento, you think about the core commerce platform. But as you know, there are a number of auxiliary products that we have as well. And one of these is our SaaS-based order management platform, Magento Order Management. And this is a really powerful, not just enterprise. We see a lot of sales of this tool into the mid-market as well. But it's a really, really powerful tool that allows our merchants to be able to rapidly roll out sort of complex omni-channel fulfillment scenarios, things like doing buy online, pick up in store, store-based fulfillment, really making this a reality for retailers. As I showed on one of the slides earlier, the big retailers with big budgets have kind of nailed this stuff. They're certainly pretty mature in omni-channel, but there's a lot of opportunity still, a lot of upside for smaller retailers to really up their game in terms of offering strong omni-channel capabilities to their merchants. So we continue to invest in the roadmap for Magento Order Management. There's a lot of things that we're doing, extending tender payment types, adding more API coverage, a microservices architecture, making it easier for our system integrators, for those of you here in the room, to actually make Magento Order Management part of your project proposition, part of the architecture for what your customers are trying to achieve in terms of their omni-channel objectives. Another thing that we're doing, and we're super excited about when we think about channels, are supporting and recognizing that commerce is not isolated to a .com branded store. 40% of all commerce that our merchants do actually occur on marketplaces like Amazon and eBay. But we as Magento still have a really, really important role in facilitating this. And so in the first half of the year, we rolled out 2 exciting new features. I'll talk a bit more in detail, but we launched a pre-integration with Amazon Marketplace and Magento, as well as an ability to purchase and manage your Google shopping ad spend directly within the Magento admin. And we're continuing to expand. We're launching support for the Amazon UK marketplace in the second half of the year. And in the future, we're already having great conversations with a lot of other marketplaces, be it Facebook, Bing, Amazon advertising. We have a roadmap that says that we want to make it easy for Magento merchants to manage their sales and manage all of these channels directly and natively inside the Magento platform. So as I said, the first of these was adding what we call the Amazon sales channel. It makes it easy for Magento merchants to sell on Amazon Marketplace, to synchronize their catalog, inventory, orders, all directly within the Magento admin panel. And we've seen tremendous interest and uptick in this. We track on a monthly basis, all of the new GMV and new orders that we're seeing, and we're seeing tremendous adoption of this. This is one of the things that I think our merchants have been most excited about. It makes it very, very easy. If you've never sold on Amazon before, or perhaps you've had a lackluster experience, this makes it really, really easy directly within Magento to start experimenting. Put some products on Amazon, just start seeing how you can see an increase in revenue growth by using the Amazon channel as well as your .com presence. And related to this, we've certainly got a very strong, close relationship with Amazon. And we announced a little bit earlier in the year, actually at Imagine, a new collaboration with Amazon that complements Amazon, the work that we've done with the Amazon sales channel. So we've got this new offering called Branded Stores for Amazon sellers. And it's really a Amazon sort of package and a focused version of Magento Commerce. And it's really focused on Amazon sellers, their third-party merchants, who perhaps today don't have their own branded stores and are able to come to the Magento ecosystem and get a pre-packaged offering really targeted at small and mid-market businesses that help them not only sell on Amazon Marketplace, but also now build their own branded presence. And so it saves them time and money. It's really an accelerator. It's hosted on AWS. It is a very fast time to market, pre-integrated and turned on support for Amazon payments, for fulfillment by Amazon, and of course the multi-channel fulfillment. So we're super excited about this. It's available now in North America, and will be coming to European Amazon customers in the coming months. So this is a really important and exciting opportunity for us to further entrench the install base of Magento into those tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of merchants who sell on Amazon. We also launched Google Shopping Ads channel. This, as I said earlier, is a really cool tool. Allows you as merchants to sort of really take control of your sort of demand gen and budget spend as it relates to your advertising on Google. So it's directly built natively in the Magento UX and it integrates with Google's Merchant Center and allows you to define what they call smart shopping campaigns, bringing new shoppers, new eyeballs to your Magento site with deep visibility into the ROI of that. So this, again, super exciting innovation. Another thing that we've been investing heavily in is our cloud architecture. So as you know, almost over 3 years ago, we first launched Magento Cloud. And today, when we think about sort of Magento Commerce, the vast majority of deals that we do are sold as cloud. We're competing with SaaS companies. We're competing with Salesforce. We're competing with Shopify. We're competing with BigCommerce. And so it's absolutely critical in the marketplace that we have a really, really mature cloud offering that provides the same value prop of security, performance, peace of mind that our SaaS competitors offer. And I think we've been really, really successful with rolling this out. But up until now, up until recently, it's been sort of monolithic stack, a single architecture. We're able to scale it on a vertical basis, but there's been a lot of scenarios, certainly in sort of larger, more enterprise and larger mid-market clients, where they've been looking for more flexibility. And so what we've recently launched out is the ability to split the cloud architecture into front end and back end, and do both horizontal scaling as well as vertical scaling. So it makes a lot of sense when you've got sort of peaky loads, you've got events, be it Valentine's Day, back to school, the holidays, where we see these peaks in traffic. And we want to be able to scale the front end on a horizontal manner and scale the back end on a vertical manner. And this is something that we're now able to do with our cloud environment. Makes it really, really or a more mature offering in terms of supporting scalability. And then where we're going with this in terms of next year is what we would call cloud native services. And this is really sort of true auto-scaling, where the platform is completely self-managing and scales the environment based on predicted demand, based on sort of real-time events that are happening. So all of this is really growing the maturity of our cloud offerings. Also, next year we'll be supporting Magento Cloud, not just on AWS like it is today, but we'll also be supporting Magento Cloud on Microsoft Azure. So giving our customers the choice and the ability to say, hey, do we want the underlying infrastructure as a service to be AWS or Azure? We certainly see, I think, more and more customers who are a little cautious about putting all their eggs in one basket with Amazon. We see a lot of solution partners and system integrators that have very close relationships with Microsoft. So we're very excited to be able to support Azure next year on Magento Cloud. Now, finally, the last sort of segment I want to talk about is commerce intelligence. Commerce intelligence is really an area to tap into sort of real-time insights, not just optimize the customer experience, but also drive efficiencies and enhance overall business outcomes. And this is where, as Magento, we get the advantage of leveraging and using the great investment that Adobe has made in artificial intelligence and machine learning. And Adobe have what they call is Adobe Sensei, which is Adobe's AI machine learning platform. And you can see here, this is sort of pre-Magento acquisition, but these are just it's sort of a logo slide, the NASCAR slide of all of the features and functionality across the entire Adobe portfolio where Sensei is leveraged. And there's all kinds of examples from doing automatic image tagging to sort of type ahead predictive text for when you're putting in marketing language into their CMS tools and so on and so forth. But ultimately, Sensei helps companies make better marketing decisions. It helps e-commerce practitioners work smarter and faster. And we're very excited to be already working on in integrating Sensei capabilities into Magento. And the first of these that we'll be bringing to market in the first part of next year are new product recommendation capabilities natively in Magento. So we're bringing to market a new product recommendations tool that's going to be way, way more advanced than the sort of basic rules-based product recommendations that you can do in Magento today. It's going to allow you to put product recommendations that are tracking the behavioral data and pulling the behavioral data of the consumers and applying Sensei's AI machine learning algorithms and tools to give us really, really smart, intelligent product recommendations. So we're super excited to be bringing that to market. Now, I just want to sort of wrap up and talk a little bit about the community, and hopefully, here we go. So I think one of the things that's really, really important to continue to have focus on is just how differentiated this community is versus all of our competitors in the market. The combination of the solution partners that we have by far the biggest network of solution partners of any e-com platform. We have over 400 formal partners in the program, and there are a long tail of many hundreds, even thousands of smaller partners all around the globe who invest in and deliver great innovation to our customers using Magento. We have our technology partners who continue to do great things and really push the boundaries of innovation in terms of integrating into the platform. And of course, there's all of the developers who are part of our community, the over 300,000 developers who, many of them work for our solution partners and technology partners and our merchants. But, all of this is really, really unique. And it's really unique in terms of how we, support our customers. And it's really only made possible by the sustained contribution and engagement of this amazing community. So, I think, I speak for Magento and everyone at Adobe when I say that we're truly humbled by the passion that this community has towards, tackling, some of the, biggest problems in commerce. So it really is great. Related to this is our Magento Masters program. This group of amazing contributors who give a huge amount of their time, their knowledge, and their thought leadership in the most selfless of ways are these Magento Masters. And we're now in our 4th year. The Magento Masters program is intended to evaluate our most active community members, recognize them for their contributions, and empower them to help others learn the Magento platform and succeed in our ecosystem. So again, a huge thanks to these people. They're really at the forefront of, pushing the education of Magento and helping new members of the community get into what Magento is all about. And then it sort of takes me on to community engineering. Community engineering is a huge success within Magento. And I want to call out the incredible work being done by the developers from across our ecosystem, the community engineering members. This is a really unique collaboration between our product management group, who sort of work very, very closely with community engineering, and then the community members who actually deliver a lot of the code and the pull requests that come into this. And so, what we're doing is bring together and orchestrate a global distributed community of core contributions spanning individuals, our system integrators, community insiders, and extension builders. The results of this partnership are the introduction of new features, performance enhancements, increased extensibility on the platform. But it's really, I think, a key differentiator in our market as well. This allows Magento as a whole to innovate much, much faster than any of our competitors. The combination of Magento's own and Adobe's investment in R&D leveraged on top by community engineering means that we are out innovating our competitors. And it's also a unique value prop for merchants to be I think for many merchants, when they invest in a platform, they're like, oh gosh, how do I influence the roadmap? How can I be involved? And for most times, it's sort of like, well, hey, you could be on the customer advisory board, or, and it's sort of a little bit of a wishy-washy answer. With Magento, our customers can take a very, very active participation in our roadmap, influence our roadmap through taking part in community engineering. So if they really want to see something in the platform, they can actually help deliver it, and that's very differentiated. And related to this, if we just look at some of the growth in terms of contributions over the last year, triple-digit growth in pull requests, triple-digit growth in process pull requests. We've doubled the number of maintainers over the platform. So, the Magento community has never been stronger or more productive. In fact, so far this year, we've seen a 65% jump in new contributions. So again, this is really differentiated. This really helps us differentiate against those SaaS platforms that we compete with in the market. And then finally, just want to touch on our Premier partners. A few of them up in the solution showcase, and encourage you to go up to the fourth floor and speak to them. But really, the commitment that they have to the platform is just incredible. Combined, we have over 70,000 joint merchants, over 4,000 extension developer hours. There are over 32 extensions in our marketplace. And these companies help us do a lot of thought leadership and positioning out there in the marketplace. Again, a big thank you to our Premier technology partners and NSA, who's one of our new Premier partners. These guys really are we're joined at the hip. Incredible leverage that we get with them. So that's it. I just want a quick reminder. I know we're here in New York. If anyone fancies getting on a plane coming across the Atlantic, we're super excited to be hosting Magento Live Europe on the 22nd and 23rd of October in Amsterdam. So I'll be there, and I'll look forward to seeing many familiar faces in Amsterdam. So thank you very much.